just to intrude before Ibrahim lets loose. Ibrahim is a former board member of IACA. He's a trailblazer in virtually everything he's done, having to establish an actuarial practice where no man had gone before. He, in my view, the soul and also the life of IACA. He puts both into it. And over to you.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, everybody. Actually, there is a very nice saying in Arabic. It says that the people who listens are the people who makes favor than the people that speak. So thank you for listening to me, for giving me the pleasure of talking to you. My contribution is divided into 3 sections instead of the 2 sections. All my colleague 4 panelists, they introduce themselves. Where do they come from? What do they work? And then they gave us a bit of their experiences. My contribution will be also introducing myself. However, before I give you a bit of my peace of mind, I will be commenting on each of the 4 panelists and highlighting and adding to few of the things they said. So like Nigel said, I established an actuarial firm where there were no actuaries in the region. But I'm from Lebanon, and I'm very proud to say so. Many people think that they used to think I'm from Cyprus because I started my firm in Cyprus, and for 16 years I operated only from Cyprus as an operation. So people used to say Muhanna from Cyprus. And now, having moved to Lebanon 20 years ago, I reclaimed my being Lebanese. However, now they refer to me as the Tanzanian because I spend so much time in Africa. And although I don't consider myself white, they consider me a white man. I keep telling them I'm brown. I'm not white. I'm in between the black and the white. So this is where I am right now, established now an actuarial practice in East Africa and trying to develop the profession. My work background, before being an independent actuarial firm, I used to be an insurance man. I worked for a life insurance company. Then I started my own life insurance company in London. Then I started my own software house, which I lost a lot of money in it. And then the most recent, and solid company is our actuarial practice. However, the closest to my heart is the Muhanna Foundation, which is an organization I founded almost 25 years ago to disseminate actuarial education in underdeveloped countries. So this is really what we do. Now let me go back now to in order to mark the contributions. And I think I should start with Asim. Sorry, I should start with Asim. Asim mentioned the word important 3-4 times in his presentation. What is important to the client? He's so right. We forget sometimes that what is important to the client that we are supposed to be servicing. He mentioned about service. We are not selling a product, but we are selling service. Here, I would like to mention many times the client does not, other than statutory requirement, reserving, blah, 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 the client doesn't really know what he needs. We know what we can offer. So listening to the client is very important. Researching not the client only, but also researching the client within the economy. If you are talking about a cement industry, and we know, for example, in many, many countries, cement piping is going out of business. There are things that you can talk to a client and help him out to foresee the future, whether they should be hiring or not, and so on and so forth. And we can look at turnover or retention of our staff. Then we design their product, their plans correctly as far as employee benefit is concerned. Also, one of the things that Asim mentioned, that it is important to stress, it is very important to stress that we are not selling a product. So this is something very interesting concept, because many people think that we are selling a product because only tangible thing is. So here we have to train our staff, not only one person within the organization, you and us, to make sure that it is a service, not a client. And this is where something we have to to go back, and this is where I would jump to Mark when he said, marketing is looking for a job every time. This is very interesting. I did a small exercise a couple years ago relating services, quality of service with the security of the job. The more the security the job is, secure the job is, the lower the quality of service is. The more insecure the job is, the higher the service is. So if we don't know that this client is renewing with us, we give him the best service. And this is why, unfortunately, civil servants in most countries in the world, they provide the lousiest service because their job is secured. So this is very interesting. We in marketing, we don't have the security. So we have to provide great service to secure that business. Otherwise, we lose our opportunity. Mark did mention about social media, but all the stress between Mark and Michael, we're talking about the professional social media that we know, LinkedIn or Twitter or so forth. I would like to mention social media as well as Facebook or anything that reflect at us as a human. Unfortunately, the people, they think we are geeks. They don't think that we ski, we play, we football. They think of us as actuaries, like a bunch. As a matter of fact, today I took my bow tie off because usually I wear a bow tie to show you. I was gonna put my Harley vest on to show you that I also ride. You know, we are human. Many people don't really look at us as human beings. They look at us as rigid mathematicians, and most people don't like us. Clients, they think we are a tax on them. We don't add value to them. So they are stuck with us. We have to add value. We have to show that we are really a part of them. We are like them. And this is where Michael said we should write. I believe writing is very important. I give you a small example. Myself, I did a study about the relationship between life expectancy and the retirement age of pilots. I did that in the late 80s, and I published it in Washington. 6-7 years later, I got a call from a law office in Chicago saying, we read your study and we think your study is in defense because we are the lawyers of American Airlines. The Union of Pilots of American Airlines is suing the airlines because of the commutation of the from lump sum to an annuity. We would like you to be an expert witness. When I published the study, I didn't publish it to get a business, but 6 years later, and nobody paid me for the study. 6 years later, a big client paid me a lot of money to appear in court, and it paid for much more than what I put into research into such study. So all of us, we should be doing work that could be valuable. If I go back to Asim talking about understanding a client, I remember very well, also many years ago, we were the actuarial firm on the pension and healthcare for a big university in Lebanon. At that time, which is in the late 80s, Americans were being kidnapped in Lebanon out of the university. Most Americans were being kidnapped, but they were kidnapped for a political reason. There were no ransom against them. They were detained. So I remember going to the president of the university. I told him, I have a solution to your problem. And he looked at me, he said, Ibrahim, why do you have bodyguards now? We know that you are an actuary. I said, yes, I'm an actuary. And because I'm an actuary, I have a solution. When they kidnap a professor from the university, you are stuck with 2 salaries because you have to bring another professor to teach. And morally speaking, you cannot stop the salary for the professor that is kidnapped. You have to pay his family his salary. But when you made the tuition structure, you didn't think of having 2 teachers teaching a course. I will pay his salary as long as he's detained. So I went to Lloyd's of London and I found a broker that is smart enough to understand what I'm talking about. I told him, we are not talking about ransom. We are talking about detention and disappearance. And I would like replacement of income as long as this person is detained. And when his release is stopped, and if he never released after 5 years, he's declared dead, and we pay a lump sum for him. So these are things neither the client thought about it, nor the industry thought about it. but we created a product, and the client became very, very happy because we solved a problem that he did not realize that there is a solution for. I would like to come to Brian, if you permit me. Brian, there's a lot of things you mentioned. Actually, Brian, I think he summoned everything that I would have said. I love what he did. What is the most important thing that Brian, in my opinion, said, his generosity of time and his transparency. Many consultants do not talk about their turnover, do not talk about their problems. Unfortunately, we have egos. We are close to each other. We don't help each other. I was telling our colleagues yesterday in one of the meetings that, in my opinion, my best friend is my competitor. My consultant actuary competitor is my best friend. We learn from each other and we give each other business. I protect my competitor because I believe indirectly he protects me. As long as we can raise the bar in our consulting. This is very important what we talk about. And then we leave it to the market to decide who they want to work with. For some of you, they would think that I love my work. I would like to burst your bubble. I don't love my work. However, I work with love. I say it is not necessary to love your work. It is sufficient. It is not necessary. What is necessary is to work with love. And I always say the best example of this statement is the mother changing her baby's diapers. Certainly, she does not love cleaning shit. However, she does it with love. Many clients, I certainly don't like them. However, since I almost kissed their ass to get the business, I have to work with love. So it's not a matter of loving to work. Tomorrow morning, like now, I would be on my Harley. I love my hobbies. I love my family. But however, each and every time I take an account, I work with love. And this is something I would like to leave you with. And thank you, Nigel, for having me. Thank you for listening to me, everybody. Bye-bye.